Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I had a subscriber ask a question, and his primary focus is in boxing, and he wants to know, should he replace the deadlift with things like power cleans and power snatches? So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Alright guys, when it comes to training for any sort of sport-specific endeavor, people need to understand that while strength matters, strength absolutely matters, it's not that unlimited strength should always be your goal. And I know that's going to sound crazy because some people like to use terms like strength is never a weakness. You know what? In sports, that's complete bullshit. That is complete bullshit. Now, if you compete in strongman, okay. If you don't have very sport-specific goals outside of strength, then that's true. Strength is never a weakness. But there is a finite limit on that. For example, they've noted in things like the NFL that athletes who go higher than a double body weight squat don't see performance benefits on the field. They see a performance benefit usually on the field up to about a double body weight squat, and beyond that it doesn't seem to improve their field performance. Now some people will be like, well, that doesn't make sense, that's crazy. A 200-pound guy who squats 600 pounds is going to be better than a guy who squats 400. No, not necessarily, and here's why. How much extra work and years and extra hours every week is a guy going to have to put in to get to that 600-pound squat versus a 400? He's going to have to dedicate his training completely to the squat. All right, he's going to have to allocate probably 70% of his recovery ability. 60 to 70% of his training efforts are going to have to be geared towards the squat, because you're talking about a triple body weight squat at that point. That is going to affect his recovery. That's going to affect his sport-specific training. That's going to affect his training time. He's going to have to pull enormous resources from all of his other training goals to get to that. It's not going to make him a better player. It's going to make him a worse player. He's not going to be able to focus on his agility drills. He's not going to be able to focus on a lot of other things trying to get to something crazy like a triple body weight squat. All right, so strength can be a weakness for specific sports. Now for boxers, the same thing could apply. Not just boxers. How about all contact sport athletes, all combat athletes, boxers, MMA, kickboxers, whatever. Deadlift is a useful lift. You want to be strong. Strength is a real good idea. Nothing builds overall strength like the deadlift. Full body strength, nothing competes with that. But does a boxer need more strength, or does he need more power? I mean, strength is good. Boxers should be strong. It's going to help them up to a point. Up to a point. But does a boxer ever really need more than, say, a 2.5 times body weight squat? Meaning, I don't think a boxer really needs to care about having more than about a 500-pound deadlift if he weighs 200. And you can extrapolate the math down for someone lighter weight than that. I don't think it's worth his time. Meaning, because that's enough strength to translate into the full body strength that he needs. I think a boxer needs to prioritize power, speed strength. Now, we could argue the deadlift helps with starting strength, but that's not going to help him with the starting strength in the body parts and positions that a boxer needs. I think a boxer should prioritize the power clean. I don't think he should replace a deadlift with a power clean. I'd like to see a boxer come in and deadlift once a week. I think it would be good. And I think that he needs to get up to where he can deadlift maybe 2.5 times his body weight and then maintain it. That can be done with a single 3 to 5 rep set done once a week. All right, that's all I would ever have a boxer do on the deadlift. That's adequate. That will get him to his goal eventually. Would I have a boxer do power cleans? Yeah, I'd have a boxer do power cleans up to 3 days a week. You know why? Power cleans will translate into tremendously more full body explosiveness. That's what he needs. A boxer needs to be fast. MMA fighters need to be fast. Combat athletes need explosive power. They need to be able to generate as much force and speed as possible for every pound or ounce of body weight that they have. Well, power cleans are going to do that. I would have them do tons of power cleans. I would never replace a deadlift, keep deadlifting. But I would definitely have them do power cleans. That would be one of the biggest focuses. Power snatches are okay too, but you know where I'd put the extra effort instead of that? Push presses. Push presses. In fact, I might even have them do clean and push press. How about they do a clean to do all their sets of push press for all their triples on the push press? They power clean that up. There we go. Now we get a 2 for 1. That's what I would do for someone who I really wanted to make a better puncher. Focus on the power clean, focus on that push press. Because the push press teaches you to lock your elbow out, to use your shoulder, use your tricep explosively while using a leg drive to get it started. All right, you're going to train to get stronger while doing that and have to lift a much, much heavier weight and produce more force than you're ever going to need on a punch by doing that. But that will translate into a faster punch for them. It will translate into them using more hip, more glute, everything to get a punch started. And, again, boxers tend to lead with their delts. They tend to lead with their shoulders when they punch. So that shoulder strength and then that tricep lockout strength combined with a full body speed movement, power movement, it's going to help them a lot. Those would probably be the 2 most important exercises for someone who really wants to punch fast for an athlete out there. That's where I'd put my efforts. You know where else I'd put my efforts? Additional dynamic effort work. How about speed benching with bands? Yeah? Think about that for a minute. Overspeed eccentric with bands like West Side Barbell style. Overspeed eccentrics using bands. Doing 10 sets of 3. And for people who don't know what I mean by overspeed eccentrics, that means that you use the bands wrapped around the bar with a relatively light weight. Might only be 50% of your max, maybe 60% of your max. And you use the bands to snap the weight down so that when you go to, you lock it at the top, it has massive amounts of band tension. It could be 100 pounds of band tension that slingshots the weight back towards your chest so that you snap it. When it hits the chest and it's being pulled down, it's pulling the weight down faster than the speed of gravity. All right, gravity has a free fall speed. The bands can pull it faster than what it would fall at free fall. That forces the nervous system to reverse it at the bottom, forces it to create a larger stretch reflex. It creates speed because it forces it to try to reverse it back in the direction with the opposite amount of speed and force that it started with. You talk about a method that will develop tremendous amounts of speed for movements using your chest, shoulder, and tricep together. Band work, overspeed eccentrics on dynamic work on the bench press. I think that's a real asset for a boxer. I would have them do a ton of that. I would have them do a ton of the power cleans, the push press, all that stuff. Same thing, they could do speed work even on the deadlifts. I might even argue that doing band work and speed work on deadlifts would be a higher priority for the boxer than getting strong on the deadlift or working on the max. I would definitely consider it. Band work, speed deadlifts, speed box squats, speed bench, speed deadlift, all with bands. That would be a real high priority. Combine that with a lot of power cleans, a lot of push presses. I think that's the sort of winning program that you would have for a boxer like that. That's exactly what I would program. But the thing is, you could even rotate through on the deadlifts, even if they're only deadlifting once a week. You could come in and have them do a peak set once a week. Maybe every other week they could come in and do speed deadlifts. Rotate through those 2 back and forth. That will be more than enough. You give a boxer enough time, he'll get to a 2.5 body weight deadlift that way. As long as he can do 3 to 5 reps with double his body weight on the peak days, that's what you would work towards. Then work on speed deadlifts to improve speed. I would do his squats. I would consider speed squats with bands. Again, speed deadlift, and then the main focus would be the power clean and the push press. That's where I'd put the real efforts in a boxer. Getting strong on a deadlift may not be ideal for them of really focusing on it. I mean, it really wouldn't be that good of a deal to spend more than about 1 day per week even working on the deadlift for a boxer. And like I said, even that could be mitigated down to 1 peak set, 1 week, and then speed work the other with bands. But yeah, I mean, I think what we've seen as far as dynamic effort work goes in athletes and doing a lot of band training, with submaximal weight, even with moderately lightweight, medium weights, that's where I would have a boxer work. I wouldn't have them work on peak strength that much. Because like people say, strength is never a weakness. Well, yeah, it is. If you're building strength at the expense of your other sport-specific training, conditioning, everything else, strength is a weakness because it does take time to recover. And like I said, I think probably the maximum you're going to see a benefit for like a boxer on the deadlift would be being able to do a little bit of reps with double and maybe have a max of 2.5 times your body weight. I think anything more than that, I think you're impeding their recovery because boxers need to have so many other skills. They need to develop speed and power. They need to develop agility. They need conditioning. I think too much focus on the deadlift would be detrimental to a boxer. Just my opinion, because it would take away from their recovery on all these other skills. But all that speed work, dynamic effort work, power cleans, push presses, yeah, I think that's where their focus should be in the weight room. That's where I would have a boxer work. Do that along with tons of agility and conditioning work, and I think you'll get them where they need to be. Outside of that, everything else is just about raw talent and technique in the ring for them. But this is just about getting them physically where they need to be able to do those things the best they can. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.